Hello, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a quick flick through of the Medieval Scapini Tarot by Luigi Scapini, the artist, and it is published by US Games. I think I got mine on World of Books because it's one of the decks I found in the Taschen book of tarot from Lo Scarabeo. Is it Lo Scarabeo? Was it just Taschen? No, sorry, maybe just Taschen, excuse me. So the Taschen, the lovely coffee table books. In fact, I have it right here, which I didn't realise. Excuse me. It's on my coffee table. So this one. And it was one of the death cards in here that I really quite admired. And it prompted me to put the deck on my wish list. And then a particular naughty person in the group also fell in love with said card and went out and bought the deck and did a walkthrough. And I blame them totally for my purchase here, because although I've shown it, I blame that person because I wouldn't have probably been prompted to buy it as quickly just yet, having not seen the entire deck. Now, I'd seen the entire deck and I was like, yeah, it's still definitely a deck I want. And I went ahead and did this because it seemed to be difficult to find or get hold of or source. So when decks like that for me, I kind of make the decision to do the purchase. This deck to me is very much like the Visconti Sforza, or that's how it reminded me. So I've got this one on the side, and what I'm going to do is just, as I flip through this, I'm going to flip through this one, but without commenting too much on this one, just to see if there's like much comparison. I think it's probably only in the majors, but also because I believe this deck is meant to look like this deck in opulence. I think they've missed a trick. I think this one should have been gilded, and in some parts I think it should be silver gilded, especially when I look at the death card. But this one, of course, as we know, the Golden Visconti is exactly as you probably would expect to see it. So that's why it's there, because I think this gives you the impression of how this is supposed to look. And why do I say that? Because if you look at this box, that background there is exactly as I would kind of expect to see all the pin work on the gilding of this one. So it's all pin work in the background, and it looks like it's very ornate. And usually when it doesn't photograph well, it's because it was holographic, not holographic, it was gold. Gold often photographs as black, if for people who aren't aware. Anyway, this is a US Games, as I said, and the Visconti is Lo Scarabeo. There is a difference in size for these decks. It's about a centimetre bigger than Lo Scarabeo and half a centimetre wider. And the little white book for the Scapini is the entire little white book, so it's got quite a bit of information in there for each card, whereas Lo Scarabeo does multiple languages and is nowhere near this much information in one book in English. So these would be the backs, and again, I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be gilded in one way, shape or form. And this tells us a bit about Luigi Scapini. So if you want to, you can pause the screen and you can read. So he was asked about the tarot, and he says it is a book in which everything can be written. I've always been interested in symbols, including them in my paintings. Many symbols that I invented intuitively were affirmed by my discovery that they had been used by many other artists long ago. In the tarot, symbols can be superimposed and combined in the imagination, sometimes seemingly random combination would suddenly bring a new insight to the reader, the cards leading yet another associations. Scapini's fantastical tarot, whose intricate symbolisms is animated by the chaos and everyday life, provides perfect medium to transport the card reader back to the medieval times. So it's designed to be medieval, but like I say, I have a feeling it should be gilded. I could be completely wrong. He may have actually drawn it to look this dark and forced. So it is designed to look like an old deck, or a facsimile of an old deck, whereas these ones are definite copies of an old deck and then brought back to life. So maybe that's the difference here. maybe this one never did exist in its, what I think, this gold glorious splendor. Maybe it never actually existed like that and he's drawn it to be that. Anyway, let's go through and take a look at the cards. The Scapini deck, from my kind of research looking into it, there are 2 editions. So the original edition is apparently much clearer artwork than the reproductions of the first edition. I'm guessing this is because they've lost the original artwork and have scanned the images of the first lot in badly, and we're left with the bad scans. Because the line work in the bottoms, people always talk about the rest of the picture being really clear and the images on faces being really clear. So I don't know if it makes a huge difference to the reading of the deck because the general imaging looks the same. I thought that was worth mentioning. So you can see why I've put them together because we've got the same kind of names. We've got the Papes or Pupes. Or Hierophant or Pope. And they've got the same kind of clothing on. These perhaps more realistic facial features, and these ones are maybe more sort of caricature. Yeah, she looks like Princess Leila. With the less offensive version of Strength. So here we are. Here's the Death card, the one that kind of set this whole thing off in motion. And it's just looking at the back, so that to me is very definitely meant to be silver in the background. You can see we have all these kind of heads floating around in there as well. And we have the crow. And the spine or staff. He's more jolly than this one. Although he's standing on something, he's not standing on heads. Or dancing on them. That's quite interesting there with the different symbols coming out of the tower. And it's called the Falling Tower. Or it's just called the Tower. Our star is being modest, nice to see. So she's crossing her arms. Yeah, it's very dark, isn't it? It's a very dark deck. I'm going to be controversial. I prefer the size of the Lo Scarabeo. I am sat here at this point in time wondering if I can trim off the borders to bring it down. With our world. So a more typical world. So it's kind of a cross between the Visconti and the old Pamela RWS, isn't it? And we have a King of Swords. So I think there's a bit more life to these now as we go through. So we have more illustration here with our 10 than we do over here. So more illustrated pip than pip. Plain pip. On 9. Just going to look that one up a second. So 9 of Swords. Neatly crossed in a grid, veiled figures are seen on the hilts of the swords. The tomb of the holy and pure hermit monk is seen in the foreground. On the monk is a lily, and on his arms crossed at his chest. So we're talking about him, haven't we? We've got this one with the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus is made of the same material, red sandstone, that the Queen of Swords is perched on the sides of the scenes of decay. A strong man oppressing a weak man, and people stricken with the crouches. What? I can't see strong man. Oh yes, there are along the edges. On the right of the tomb, a fetal figure crouches, and to the left, Page of Swords, now aged and demented, huddles in a knot. That's our fetal figure. Yes, this is our. So, divinatory meanings: misery, concern, quarrel, unhappiness, miscarriage, anxiety over a loved one, worry, despair, suffering. In reverse, doubt, suspicion, slanderous gossip, shame, scruple, timidity, shady character, reasonable fear. And just for comparison, let's do the if I can find it. Where are we? Must be up here. So what, the hermit? Oh, okay, so it's just numericals. 9 of Swords. Intellectual or emotional maturity, patience and calm. Compared to that one. So there's quite a difference in how they are depicted as meanings. What's that, 8? Six of Swords, not quite the guiding forwards motion that we were expecting, is it? Being thrown off your horse. Or is it that you're being guided to not look back? You can't go back, so the draw gates have come down. So 5. A little teepee of rest. And there's our ace. Some points down, some points up. We're on to wands. So it's very different. You get a completely different kind of feeling off of this one, actually. It's not so cold in its issuing of the pips. Or clinical, I guess. Less clinical in the way that it'd be read. Interesting. Rest of the deck's upside down. Hopefully it's in order because I haven't checked. What different different urns, kind of Greek in feeling. I'm going on 5 then, so we've got somebody in bed. Oh, this is me today. Well, 3. Union. Oh, lovely colourful ace. Almost that kind of, is it cornucopia? Is that the word I'm looking for? You know, the horn of plenty. This one there, there's that evidence of what I feel should be here on all of them, and I think that would just bring these cards so much more to life if that had been, oh, that's picking up, if that had been sort of followed through. I think it would just make them that little bit more. And last but not least, there's Queens. So it's standard kind of US games cardstock. It's going to shuffle nicely. I believe that means to everyone that likes to bend their decks, it will riffle and bridge nicely. It's got a slight coating to it, whereas this one's more cardboardy, I guess. It's kind of Lo Scarabeo, but not the same sort of stock as this. It's a bit more plasticky. 2s. There's our ace. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. And what are your thoughts about the 2 decks? And do you have the original Scapini or the 2 to compare to? Can you fill me in? Anyway, until next time, take care. Bye bye.